Next thing on our agenda is Year of the Business Spotlight, and that would be Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli, and owner Kathy Morelli is here. See, I told you the room would clear out.
So relieved. So, thank you for having us here. Big fan of Carol Stream, big fan of all of you. And so I've been asked to talk about our business, our family business. So I'll start at the beginning. 1970 is the year the first ever cellular phone was invented. And also Grease, Saturday Night Fever, Close Encounters of the Third Kind are playing in the theaters. A gallon of gas costs 8 cents. Am I supposed to be right here?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay.
The more money we spend, the less things work. It's okay.
1978, a gallon of gas cost 78 cents. Ashton Kutcher was born, and so was Augustino's Deli. We started out in Gina's Plaza, which is right behind the fire department, and we were in the strip mall. My father, Jerry was just out of high school by a year, and they used all their savings on top of the fact that Jerry also worked at a helmet factory making chin straps during the day because they lived off their savings while they put it into the business. Everything, they started out as an Italian grocery store, and so they also made sandwiches. And at that time, we did Italian beef on Fridays, meatballs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those were the only hot items, and when you ran out, you ran out. Nobody delivered to us because we were so small, so Jerry took the delivery truck into the city a couple of times a week, picked up all the meats, the produce, everything, and brought it back to the store. The family joke at that point was when Jerry started dusting the jars of pasta sauce, maybe the sandwiches were doing a little bit better than the pasta sauce. So in 1985, Madonna chopped the top of the charts musically. Back to the Future is the top of the movie charts. And Coca-Cola introduces the new Coke, which it then was quickly recalled in 6 months after that. Nobody liked the new Coke. The stamp was 22 cents, and a gallon of gas is now up to $1.09. That's the year that on the corner of St. Charles and Schmally, there was a Clark gas station. And a customer had the lease on that. And he was getting ready to give it up, and he said to Jerry and Og, I think this would be a good place for you guys. So that's when we purchased the property at that corner, and now we call that the mothership. Jerry and Og did a lot of the work. They worked the days in the deli, and then at night, Jerry laid all the tile. In fact, when we remodeled our kitchen this past winter, the tile was the hardest thing to get up off the floor. So everybody was joking that he did a really good job. When we first moved in there were no tables or chairs. Prior to that, nobody sat down. We didn't have the money for them, so it kind of wasn't an issue because nobody really expected to go in and sit down. So we opened up without being a restaurant without actually anything for people to sit down. And at that time, when we started to get some funds, what should we decorate it as? And many of you may or may not know that my father-in-law served in the Korean War. And part of his job was he organized the talent to come and entertain for the troops. He worked with the USO. And when there weren't acts, he put together a little band. My father-in-law played the trumpet. And so he had some memorabilia, and his thought was that music and food are kind of universal, and he thought that would be a fun theme. Little did we know. Then in 2004, Harry Potter battles the prisoner of Azkaban, and Augie's becomes a chain. That's when we opened our store in West Chicago. Again, another customer telling us about a location, and maybe you want to do that. It's kind of close, but it's just far enough away, and Jerry constantly shuttles stuff back and forth. People may not know this, but all the beef is made in Carroll Stream because the water is different in West Chicago. And when we first opened up, we were trying to figure out why does the beef not taste the same? And finally, we just came up with the fact that it's the water. So if somebody tells you it tastes different there, it's not true, and we laugh about that. But every day they come with the refrigerated truck and get the beef and the juice for West Chicago. Both stores have museum-quality memorabilia, and what's neat about Carroll Stream is the first front rooms are all dedicated to local bands. So you've got the doo-wop area, you've got the blues, you've got the garage bands, and then back in the corner are some of the 70s rock. So all that memorabilia is dedicated to Chicagoland bands. The lunch boxes were my contribution. There was a Mother's Day that we were flea market shopping, and I saw an Archie's lunchbox, and Jerry got it for me for Mother's Day, and then I just kind of had fun on eBay. So, for those of you who don't know us, we're known for subs the biggest size of your forearm. We make our beef, our corned beef, our roast beef. All our sauces are our own, and our vinegar and oil dressing, my father-in-law called Love Potion number 9, so that comes from Og. Our bread comes from all local bakeries. It comes twice a day. Every meat, cheese, anything in that store is selected by Jerry, just like he did when he drove into the city to pick out everything. We also cater, using a lot of my mother-in-law's recipes. So what's changed since 2004? On Earth Day 2008, we launched our own mini green initiative. One of the things that we saw people, as people are choosing to drink healthier, they're doing away with soda, a lot of people want water. And I watched a woman stand there and look at the bottle of water or the styrofoam cup of water, and she was clearly in distress about which one to choose. And I thought, is it the dollar? What is it? And she said, oh, styrofoam, I just don't like putting that in the earth. So I Googled it, and it goes nowhere. I also did the math on our stores, and per store we were putting 10,000, between the staff having their own free soda and the water, we were putting 10,000 styrofoam cups into the ground each month per location. So that's when we started looking into a healthier cup, which led to insanity. I mean, Jerry was, how do you, forks, knives, plates, everything. And the first forks that we got, if you put them, they were made from a potato product, and some of our customers were complaining because they'd use it like with French dressing, and it dissolved the fork. So some stuff we've had to back off on. And anything hot, it also melted. 2011, we launched our gluten-free menu. And so we're definitely ahead of the curve with that. Our daughter number 2, we have 4, I just refer to them by numbers. Daughter number 2 is gluten intolerant, and suddenly we're trying to figure out how can she eat the food that her parents make. And so through figuring out what she can do and what we can do, we figured out that maybe we could do that for our customers. And part of that process was, I call it our gluten-free smackdown. We had every every vendor bring us what they had that was gluten-free, and we invited, I just threw it out on Facebook and had to cut it off at 24 people coming in to taste everything. And we knew we were onto something when we found this par-baked sub roll that's gluten-free. And this woman made a sound that you were like, you're just eating a sandwich. And she said, Augie would be proud. So it's one of the most rewarding things that Jerry will tell you that he's done in his almost 39 years of business. 38, I guess we are. Just knowing that people who couldn't eat our food can come back, or families that didn't eat with us because they had an important family member that had to be gluten intolerant. And then, of course, most recently is our gaming area. Thank you all for that. We hesitated on that. We didn't know how we'd feel. And finally, Jerry did the math on the one table that we lost. We moved one table, and then we lost one table as far as sitting. And he goes, I got to sell a lot of hot dogs to justify keeping that table. So one of the things that we decided when we were going to do that was find a way to use those funds. First of all, we're buying a new parking lot in next May, so that's super exciting. But on top of that, how could we give back to our community? So all the little tickets that people leave behind, they go into a box, and every month we designate somebody to receive those funds, plus we give a percentage of our own. And we just did one of those fun big check presentations, and WESDRA and People's Resource Center got the big checks, and to date we've donated $2,759, and that's just since April. We're doing a 4th of July fundraiser, 4th of July committee fundraiser, and so we've got 2 months where those receipts and our proceeds will go towards that, and then we also have Christmas sharing slated for November and December. So, from Augie, Phyllis, and myself, and Jerry, we want to thank you for the opportunity to tell our story. Your staff has always been extremely helpful, supportive, and taken me personally under their wing as I try to figure out whatever task Jerry said, can you just go handle that? And the staff is always amazing. They walk me through things, answer questions. We get a lot of questions about Og. He's doing well. He's 82. They have the most spoiled dog on the planet. That dog hit the lottery when they adopted that dog, Frankie. He's the dog from hell. That prevents them from venturing in too far right now. But for a long time, Augie, even though after he was retired, we called him the most overpaid maintenance guy because he was always tinkering and fixing things. For us, Carroll Stream, the community represents 4 generations of customers. A lot of our staff have been there a very long time. Mike's been with us almost 20 years. It's not hard to find somebody who's worked for us for 10 years, and we're very, very proud of that. Some of our most lovely moments come when a grown man comes in and shares that when he was a little kid, his family lived in the apartments right behind Genius Plaza, and how Og just gave him a piece of ham or a piece of cheese or bought the lunch that day. Mom and Og send their regards and echo both Jerry's and my appreciation and thank you. And so in true Italian tradition, I brought mini subs for everybody, and I'm really glad all those people left because I didn't have enough. How am I going to make this work? So, Og said you should never leave empty-handed, and so I'm following that tradition.
Kathy, I've been coming there since it was the Italian grocery store as a deli when I was 12 years old. And I've been going there ever since.
On the way home.
And both stores are great, but I'm going to tell everybody, shop Carroll Stream because Greg's not here. So go to ours.
Thank you for lunch tomorrow.
says he doesn't care where you shop, as long as you
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I personally have a lot of memories from the very first store and then the second store because I'm a car guy. And I met some of my best friends at their car shows, where they used to have a band in the corner of the parking lot. And in that parking lot, we would get, without exaggerating, between 75 to 100 cars. They'd be in the alley behind the other building, and then behind that building, and then on the street and across the street. And I mean, you could not get once you got your car in, if you were there early, you were not getting out until everybody else left, because they were bumper to bumper, door to door. We always respected each other, so the first ones in were the last ones out. But they always tolerated and put up with us, and I mean, there was some nights we got a little rowdy in there, and people would leave, and now that the police are gone, except for the chief, you know, they like to spin the tires a little bit and burn some of that energy off, so. But they were always good to us, and a lot of the families would come back and eat there after the car show. During the week, we'd go in there and eat. And my son Dominic, that is no longer with us, grew up there, and that was his favorite restaurant of all restaurants ever. He loved Augie and Phyllis with all of his heart.
I have
I
a
mean-
story to share about Dominic that I just recently found. For 18 years, I was a columnist for the Courier News, and I did a little thing called Peaks and Valleys. And it was beautiful because I got to write about my kids and being a wife, mother, and all that kind of stuff, and I got paid for it. I've been cataloging the stories, and I found one from when Jerry and I first moved to Carroll Stream. I wrote about your son giving me crap about the dirty car that he, and I'm like, who is this high school kid giving a mother of 4 any grief about a dirty car?
He
I'll share that with you.
loved coming in there. He loved you and your husband, and Phyllis and Augie were special for him.
We love Dominic. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you for coming in. And you did a wonderful job.